What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. Just dropped new episode of the Philadelphia Eagles Flashback franchise. Go check that out. But there's also Philadelphia Eagles news that I did want to talk on because we've done mock-off seasons. We've done dream signings, free agency target videos for Philly. And they pulled the trigger on a guy that I absolutely thought we should get. Philadelphia has signed former Minnesota Vikings linebacker Eric Wilson to a one-year deal worth up to $3.25 million, so $3.25 million bucks. He was a former undrafted free agent, was a starter last year for the Minnesota Vikings, and statistically, very good. Box score, if you just look at linebackers with the box score, very good. 122 tackles, 8 TFLs, 3 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, a forced fumble, 8 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. Very, very productive. And when you just think, especially if you're an Eagle fan, the last couple of linebackers had, excluding Alex Singleton, it's been a while since we've had like a really, really productive linebacker, a linebacker that gets turnovers. And that's exactly what we're going to be getting in Eric Wilson. Now, you may think, whoa, C4, like Philly got a guy that you really want them to get, a dream signing. Is this unreal? Well, you got to, the scope, context, right? This is a dream signing for how limited amount of money Philadelphia has. And it helps that we had the Minnesota Vikings linebacker coach is now on our staff. So it kind of, when you look at, what linebackers could Philly potentially target? That made sense to be like, all right, we got the Vikings linebacker coach. We need help at linebacker. Eric Wilson on the Vikings. It wasn't like, this is the greatest call for Philly to sign someone of all time. But hey, I'm happy with it, man. I'm not going to gloat. It's very reminiscent of when Philadelphia, way back when, signed Nigel Bradham. We signed Nigel Bradham because he was familiar with Jim Schwartz in Buffalo. You got to remember, I think Philly signed Nigel Bradham out to a 2-year, $7 million deal, around $3.5 million per season. So it's exactly in line with the price point that Philly just paid for Eric Wilson on that 1-year deal. And you got to remember, Nigel Bradham's first year. So we signed him for like basically $3.5 million bucks, right? So that's like average, below average, probably for a starting caliber linebacker. And then in that first year with Philadelphia, Nigel Bradham started all 16 games. He had an interception, 5 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 2 sacks, 100 tackles, 10 TFLs. Nigel Bradham was an absolute beast. He was very good. He was good the Super Bowl year. Then we paid him big time money, and it wasn't so great. But the initial signing of Nigel Bradham for cheap to come in and add a little bit of veteran experience to our linebacking core worked out very, very well for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think that the similarities are uncanny to adding in Eric Wilson. I'm very happy with him, man. 6'1", 230 pounds. And when you look at him, it's one of those guys that, like, box score looks outstanding. What he does well, very good. And especially in today's NFL, when you get linebackers, if you're not getting a complete linebacker, you got to pick and choose an area that linebacker would be stronger at. I think a lot more people in today's NFL would rather a linebacker that can cover than a linebacker that's going to be an asset in run support. And that's Eric Wilson to a T. That's why the contract for a guy that had 100 tackles and a bunch of turnovers, a couple sacks, is kind of, not crazy because he's not particularly good as a run defender. So according to PFF, in 2020, 65.5 coverage grade, which is 27th among linebackers. His run stuffing grade was 38.3, which was 85 out of 99 out of all the linebackers. So he's a good athlete. He's a guy that can cover sideline to sideline very well. It's just missed tackles and finishing tackles. So when you're getting, bargain free agency signings, this is what you're going to get. You're not, if Eric Wilson was, top 20-ish in coverage and top 20-ish in run defense, he would have signed a, 3-4 year contract with probably $10, $15 million guaranteed because those guys don't grow on trees. But for what we have right now, when you look at Philadelphia with what we have in Alex Singleton is a good, traditional, a little bit more old school style linebacker. He's not a liability in coverage. He showed actually some good cover reps last season, but generally speaking, the strength of Alex Singleton's game, who's a fan of, I think he's a fan of the channel, but most fans of the Philadelphia Eagles are big Alex Singleton guys because he, came from the CFL, was a CFL Defensive Player of the Year, comes to Philadelphia, didn't get a whole lot of opportunities. It was more of a special teamer. Finally got some opportunities after the Nate Gary, I don't even know, he got hurt or whatever because, Jim Schwartz was going to run him into the ground, and he ended up being very good, very reliable against the run. Sideline to sideline is good with the occasional blitz. I mean, who did he blew up like, I don't know if it was Dion Lewis or something like that, but like he had one of the best blitzing reps. I wish I remember who it was because he absolutely ran over a running back. But either way, Alex Singleton is very good at. He's Liam Neeson. You know, he's a very select set of skills. He's a guy that you want in the box. He's a guy that you want in run support. He's a guy that you're comfortable with sideline to sideline, but he's not really a guy that you like to cover tight ends. You do not want him matched up against elusive running backs. Enter Eric Wilson. So they play off each other, right? We're building a linebacker core. We're not going to have that premier guy. Can't exclude a potential premier guy at pick 12 if Philadelphia so deems it that they want Micah Parsons. Absolutely. Micah Parsons, Eric Wilson, Alex Singleton, by all means. I mean, I don't know how much nickel we're going to run. That's one thing that, like, before this video, I wish I could figure out and have a true idea if Philly's going to be having a lot of 2 or 3 linebackers. Colts fans, let me know. I feel like they ran with 3, though. I feel like they'd have Bobby Okereke, Darius Leonard, and Anthony Walker. Like, they all had significant reps, but I don't know how consistently all 3 of those guys were on the field. But point being, Philly could still, at 12, if Micah Parsons is their BPA, or they decide at 12 they want to trade down and get Owosu Koroma, JOK, from Notre Dame. I'd be fine with that. They want to add a linebacker day 3, late day 2, early day 3, looking at, a Jabril Cox, looking at a Baron Browning, looking at Chaz Surratt, anything like that, by all means. And you can't exclude the fact that 2020 third-round pick Davion Taylor, who's an exceptional athlete, he's still a viable option. It's not going to be completely fair to write that guy off because Jim Schwartz doesn't trust his rookie. So I think when you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles defense, not to get too far away of talking about Eric Wilson, but Davion Taylor and Kevon Wallace in particular are going to be 2 very interesting players that are going to have a fresh start with a brand new DC. I'm excited to see what they can do this season for the Philadelphia Eagles. But ultimately, Eric Wilson is a very good signing given the fact that our current linebacking core is a massive question mark in Davion Taylor, who hopefully will develop more in line with Eric Wilson's play style, because the way Davion Taylor's built, he's built like a big safety, should be a cover guy. But until he gets to that point, we have Eric Wilson that can do that job. And I think Eric Wilson and Alex Singleton complement each other very nicely. I mean, you look at his pro day, right? Eric Wilson ran 4.53 for his 40-yard dash, 39.5-inch vertical, 121-inch broad jump. The 3-cone was under 7 seconds. All these parameters, he's ticking off all the boxes that you want to see from an athletic testing standpoint. So it's verifiable. And I do think that now that he's signed, I'm going to watch more cut-ups of what he did last season, because there is always going to be the slight buyer beware when you look at someone like Eric Wilson, to give an Eagle fan of something similar, Byron Maxwell. When we signed Byron Maxwell, it was a weak cornerback class for that free agency period, right? Like, Byron Maxwell is the best of not a great group of players. But the thing with Byron Maxwell was, is he good outside of Seattle, outside of the Legion of Boom? Or was it because he was in the Legion of Boom, he was solid? Same could kind of be said for Eric Wilson, where you look at the gaudy numbers, you look at what his responsibilities would have been on the Minnesota Vikings defense. I think it'd be really interesting to see what he looked and played like when Eric Kendricks is on the field, because when Eric Kendricks is on the field, Eric Kendricks is going to make everyone else in that linebacking core look better. Same with Anthony Barr. So coming to Philadelphia, there's going to be a massive drop-off. No disrespect to Alex Singleton, but he's no Eric Kendricks. So that's going to be something to be, kind of interested in seeing. He's Eric Wilson now with a lot more responsibility in Philadelphia. Is he going to rise to the challenge and get that second contract like Nigel Bradham? Or is he just kind of going to be a one-year cover linebacker that does complement Alex Singleton, but ultimately he's just going to be there for cover while we work on Davion Taylor or someone from the 2021 NFL Draft? But ultimately, we're going to wrap this video up, fellas. Very excited that we got Eric Wilson. The checklist of players, like, that's what I wanted, man. I wanted that linebacker in Eric Wilson. Still think we need a corner. I'm going to quickly, let's see here. Spot Rack, NFL. Who's still available for free? I still think Philly needs to add a free agent corner, even though it's looking more and more likely that at pick 12, we could go J.C. Horn. Dream mock draft is definitely Patrick Surtain if he's still there at 12. I think corner makes a whole lot of sense. It does seem like there's some smoke coming around Philadelphia and Terrence Marshall from LSU. I don't know if that's Philly's going to trade down in the first round to get Marshall, or that's who's going to be their top guy at 37 in the second round. Let's see here. Looking at the available corners, it's not looking great for Philadelphia, to be completely honest. Like, you're not going to get that home run guy. Like AJ Boye, Casey Hayward, Richard Sherman, they're probably not coming to Philadelphia. Steven Nelson from Pittsburgh's interesting, but he basically got out of Pittsburgh because he wanted to get paid more money. Philadelphia, we don't have a lot of money to throw around, so while Steven Nelson from a schematic standpoint could be interesting, I don't know. Brian Poole's another one, depending on how they view Avonte Maddox at the slot corner spot. I think Brian Poole, from what he brings, where he's a tackle, no-nonsense first-type corner, I think Brian Poole, I would be happy with that. Garyon Conley at 26 could be, a cheap flyer deal there that hopefully he comes in, excels in their scheme, and can cash out potentially. I think TJ Carey is another player, familiarity from Indianapolis. That could make sense, but now you're getting down in the nitty-gritty of we're still looking for that other outside corner that can play opposed Darius Slay, and when you're going through the remaining corners that are left, you don't really want to be in a situation where you're the Philadelphia Eagles and whoever is your rookie at pick 12 is getting thrown to the Wolves right away as an outside corner because there's no one else. Right now, literally, there's no one else that can play outside corner. It's not even like we can ease them in and be like, oh, well, we have the veteran there and we'll slowly start getting them some outside reps. Whoever Philly drafts at 12 is going to have to be pro-ready, get going. And that is not conducive to rookie corners. Look at Jeff Okudah last year with the Detroit Lions. I can't remember. Maybe it was Marshawn Lattimore the last time a very top 15 type pick corner excelled and hit the ground running right away. Jalen Ramsey and those guys don't really count because those are upper echelon. But it's been a while. So point being, looking at the remaining players, the checklist of how Philly can handle this offseason, I would like Brian Poole to come in slot and use Avonte Maddox as a depth slot, depth safety type player. And then on the outside, maybe a Garyon Conley, right? And I don't know how well he fits in this scheme. I don't know, in this scheme, you're going to have to tackle at the cornerback spot. It was so frustrating that Xavier Rhodes decided to re-sign back there with the Colts. But it makes sense. He's old. Colts are contenders. Philadelphia is not. So definitely let me know in the comment section below, fellas, if you're an Eagle fan in particular that have been kind of looking around at the corners that are still available. If there's a guy out there that I didn't mention, definitely let me know in the comment section below and I can think about it. But Eric Wilson to the Eagles. Never thought I'd make a video about a guy signing a 1-year, $3 million deal, but I think it's very good business from Philadelphia, and I'm getting very heavy Nigel Bradham vibes. So hopefully it works out. I'm excited. Let's get some more signings in, though. Let's get some more signings in, baby. Let's go. Just hooked up a Traeger grill, just built it. Can't wait to go smoke some wings. It's going to be a great night. I hope you guys have a great night as well. Thank you for watching. As always, first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.